Well, we enjoyed having Bruin stay with us at Dog Couch. I'm going to go through Bruin's obedience. So the first thing we're going to do is the heel. So again, I have Bruin on my left side. I step off. I say Bruin heel. And remember, be a stickler. His eyes do not go past the end of your left toe while you're walking, okay? And here I'm kind of showing he understands. Like I'm weaving, he's staying in position. Notice the slack in the leash, hand by the waist. He should be alarmed that there's tension in the leash because it means the collar's on. So there should always be slack if he's in the correct position. And again, I just tell him good heel, but I enforce this. Again, do not be afraid to turn this collar up. He knows how to do this. There we stop. I tell him Bruin sit. He goes into sit. What I'm showing here is if he didn't go into sit, collar would have turned on, upward leash pressure till the behavior is completed. Only then does the collar and leash pressure cease. Obviously, I didn't have to do that, but that's what happened if he didn't go into sit. So now I step off again. I say Bruin heel. We move. It's his job. If he kind of halted or stopped, collar turns on till he catches up to my left side. So remember, anytime he gets behind me, collar turns on until he catches up. If he gets in front of me, immediately the collar turns on. At the same time I stop walking, I pull him back to my left leg, and ideally I kick that left leg back a little bit further, so we go, and I take him all the way back to my left leg with collar pressure, meaning you're holding down either the black S button or the red S button, and leash pressure. Once he's back there, immediately the collar turns off, leash goes loose, and we'd say Bruin heel, and we'd step off again. So that's how we correct for foraging. Okay, if we get any kind of barking on the deal, we're gonna give a quick remind him to heel, and that will be a collar correction for that, okay? He's not allowed to bark at our dogs, okay? He just needs to be neutral. Doesn't have to love everybody, but he can't be going after our dogs, all right? Again, with the e-collar, I want you to make adjustments 2 to 3 levels at a time. Ideally, probably with him too. So you go up 2 or you go down 2 numbers at a time. And then some days dogs will go a little bit higher. They're more amped for some reason. But generally what you'll find is in the house you won't have to be as high generally. But the minute you step out and you're going out in the public, you're probably going to run them a little bit higher because there's going to be more of an excitement level, right? So here's what I was talking about, where he's trying this new deal where he tries to, now he does good healing, but now he's trying to, every time I sit him, get in front of me. So I'm going to show you how I correct it real quick. So watch, as I'm slowing down, I'm going to say Bruin sit. And if I see him still moving forward, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give leash pressure and collar pressure all the way back and help him into a sit next to my side, because that's where this dog will start. He's always looking for a way to move an angle to push it, to push the rules a little bit. And I want you to be a stickler with it and force it, okay? So here we go. There I go. I pulled him back, collar turned off. I'm just teaching him, you must be by my left leg, okay? Because he needs to have structure. When you give this dog structure, he makes way better decisions, okay? So now again, I stepped off. I said Bruin heel. And again, just be a stickler with this. Have the slack in the leash. That's super important, you know. And be a stickler with that, where his eyes are on your left toe. That's super important. He's never allowed to get in front of that left toe. There's a consequence every time. If we do that, he'll be awesome. So here we stop. I say Bruin sit. He goes right into a sit. Just like that's exactly what we were looking for. Okay. I step off. I say Bruin heel. There he is. He's heeling nicely with me. This is a nice picture. We pivot around just like that. And now I'm going to come back and I'm going to say Bruin sit. And he goes into a sit just like that. All right. Next step. Now we're going to go into a sit. So I actually said Bruin sit, and I'm going to leave him. Okay. Now remember what we mentioned with this dog is you got to watch him because he loves to kind of push the rules. So if he gets up and kind of happy butts his way forward, collar turns on, you take him all the way back to the original location. Remember, we use the leash, get him in a sit, and then it turns off. Again, I never call him. I never release him from here, because then he'll get anticipation. Super, super important that I'm going to come up there to release him, okay? And the command to release him is free, okay? So I walk up, I say Bruin free. I can help him with the leash, but the biggest thing is when I get near him, I say Bruin free. That lets him know he's released. Or I could walk up and say Bruin heel, and we could heel off, okay? But I never call him back from this position, okay? So here I say Bruin free, and he goes, okay? So now we're going to do recall. So it's Bruin here. Again, do not worry about the speed. All I worry about is the correctness. He's coming. But where it's different with the e-collars, I say Bruin here, he's not coming. The collar turns on until he takes a step in my direction. Okay. The second he moves in one step in my direction, super important. The collar turns off. But practice this from all different angles. Have that long line on if we need it. We need to use it. Okay. Let's go to the place bed. So it's Bruin place. He gets on the bed. Again, we never tell him to sit. We never tell him to down on the bed. He's free to move around on the bed. What Bruin cannot do is bark or whine. That'd be a quick tap of the button every time he did it, but give it about 3 to 5 second rest between tapping either the black or the red S button. Remember, the red S button is a 5 jump. It goes higher. The black S button is the displayed number. Remember, we never use that little T button that's on the other side, and we always have that remote in our right hand, okay? The T is for a tango. Vibrate's not going to work for him, okay? So How do we release him? Never from a distance, just like we practice. We're going to walk up, and you can see he's excited, he's anticipating, but he's not coming off. I put my hand underneath the shin, I say, Bruin, free. I help him off the bed. And again, we're going to pivot around for training purposes here. I got him on my left side. I'm kind of setting him up, and I'm confidently walking towards the bed. While I'm still moving, I say, Bruin, place. He goes toward the bed. If he didn't go towards the bed at that point, the collar would turn on, and it would be leash pressure all the way till the behavior is completed, okay? So there you saw me come up. I gave him a little bit of loving. Didn't get him too excited, but I reminded him Bruin place as I stepped away. So you can do that. What he cannot do when you come up to see him on the bed is he cannot jump on you. If he jumps on you, the collar turns on. You step away. The second he puts his feet back down on the bed, the collar turns off. But we don't allow that behavior. Okay, super, super important. And again, remember, do not be afraid to turn this e-collar up or down. Remember, it needs to be on him when you're home with him. If you're sleeping at night, take it off. You're gone for the day, take the collar off. It needs to be off at least 8 hours a day. Super important, we move it to a different location every day on his neck like we mentioned. And here I'm going to come up to release him, and then we're going to put him back up here one more time. So I say, Bruin place, he goes. Again, nothing happens. If he didn't, it would have been collar, leash pressure. Remember, we're going to increase the distance by 2 feet per day. Now, if he gets off the bed, this is where it's super important. The collar must turn on. If he gets off the bed without being released and you catch him in the act, the collar turns on. If he doesn't self-correct, the collar stays on, meaning you're holding that button down. Remember, if you have to hit the refresh, you get him on the bed. Only then does the collar pressure cease, okay? And remember, we're going to use the leash inside the house while he's supervised for the next 2 weeks. That's super, super important. Well, we've enjoyed having him. Cool dog. Just stay firm and fair with him. Make sure that collar's snug like we talked about, but not too snug. You should be able to move it with your hand, but it shouldn't instantly fall when you put it on his neck. And here we come to release him the last time. Hand underneath the chin, and I say free, and we get him off the bed just like that.